Bill Cosby goes Bitcoin. A what? What's that? Like, subscribe in the Discovery Channel. Yes, the Discovery Channel. The link is provided below. Get that Discovery Go app as well as that ID Go app. You might in fact want to, yes, intrude on even that. On the pulse, I'm saying. No dance involved, right? But that don't make sense. I mean, where does people in fact come up with this type of news or whatever? I'm hoping it's not true. I'm saying on I got some words for even Bill Cosby himself. The choices the man, the love and choices the man loves to make pertaining to even a Bitcoin. How does that work out? I'm saying I know and understand the process of even Bitcoin itself, and yet for Bill Cosby to be there is to ask, well, why? Bitcoin crime and illegal yes, Bitcoin crime, yes, and illegal transactions. It's been all type of things going on in the news lately pertaining to Bitcoin and thievery and all the rest of the process with even that. So to hear a big name such as even a Bill Cosby is to ask, yeah, well, what is going on even the end of his? And a strobe light cracking in the process, right? That's a back step on my own. Not a backstab, no, a back step on my own. Pertain to Uncle Bill and the draws and all the rest. Coming down and falling down on even an intrusion with that. The older I get and think and see, even in my eyes, on my old eyes, see now eyes, is to ask, even step forward to even Bill himself. I might in fact need to email as in contact his team of people and send this video. Is Bill becoming senile? Because even the photograph of when I said in the video, I said, man, the older Bill Cosby get, the more his whole face looks like a spoon. A spoon with chocolate set on top of it. That's in fact a true statement. Somebody gonna get mad and flip out and possibly even demon possessed with that, as in what I just said, the wording. Bill's choices in life, the human being aspect of why is he with Bitcoin, as in why is it there? So yes, what? Bitcoin, yes, Bitcoin crime and illegal transactions. What? I didn't say Bill Cosby. I'm asking. Somebody's gonna come to me and comment and tell me what is what. I ain't got time to be stalking Bill. In my younger days, you know what, that's so odd, because the stalker Bill back in the younger days is to say he might have even got killed by the hands of me on my end with even the rape and the tragedy with even that. That poses mood issues is what I'm trying to say, to be taken advantage of by a woman when you don't want it. It's to say, Bill, I don't want it. And yet to go even in with that Spanish fly is to say, what is the wreckage with that point? Yeah, so yeah, it has been stated that Bill, yes, with the Bitcoin, he got involved with Bitcoin to keep everyone from touching his 500 million fortune. He know I could use some of that because I'm highly likely broke over here all the way. No train with that, right? Did you catch that? No train. That's funny because the more I think about it, I'm all off topic and I should be. But I didn't even consider that when Bill was getting them young girls high over there and putting them to sleep, was he running trains, as in having other friends involved? They might in fact need to check with even that. Not Bill Cosby team, no. Allegations, but I'm just wondering. That's odd in itself to put some folks to sleep that take advantage of in a sexual nature and character and yet not have nobody else with you while you're doing it. I didn't think about that myself. For me to go off topic is to make it completely good with that and the spice of the sauce and the ammunition. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for that, as in what I just said. That need to be recognized, that Bill have other people with him while he was doing stuff, trick-or-treating with these tricks. Not the girls. I should say that. That might in fact need to be taken down as edit, but I'm saying the way he chose to view them as if they were, yes, tricks or something. That's what I'm trying to say. I had to clean that up. That's public relations on my end. To not edit a video out and mess up on the wording and the footing is to, yes, incorporate PR, work with even that, teams of people with that, and clean that up so people don't look at you bad. Well, what? Are you making fun of rape victims? No, I'm not. I'm saying how the man viewed them as some tricks or something. Getting jobs for them, on even on the set of his end, and paying them money and all, and taking advantage of them sexually. That's what you will in fact call a trick. And yet I have to say that, and it has to stick there, where people didn't even recognize and see the raping aspect of going for certain pretty girls and making sure they look in certain ways. He by choice, the selection in which Bill Cosby chose to, yes, on the game of his end, how he chose to pull women and made them call him daddy and all the rest. And he put them on a set of TV shows in which even many of them really don't speak about how some of them have in fact been taken advantage. Others have, right? But to say that there's money there from his end to their end, and have them girls call you daddy, is to say, what do you have? It's a tricking process with that. Hoeing and prostitution, and you don't know why you're becoming a victim and all that. That's what I'm trying to say. Shouts out to the Me Too movement. Yes, with that Me Too movement and all the rest that people follow and subscribe to. Me Too and victim and rape victims, right? Shouts out to them. But I had to in fact state that can't be ignored. It must be the awareness on your end. But yes, the Bitcoin. That's what it said in the news. Bill Cosby is using Bitcoin to keep everyone from touching his $500 million fortune, including his wife and the government. Sources of Cosby stated he has no intention on paying his legal fees. Didn't I just question the see now aspect in the beginning of the video? To get that owed and say you got enough money, as in you made enough money, and say, no, okay, the innocent victims you took advantage of is now going to try to get money out of you. And not only that, now you want to run to a Bitcoin and then possibly not give your wife none, and possibly none to the government, and not want to pay no legal fees or no possibly the tax up under that and all the rest. Is to say that's going to be a poor decision as is happening. I'm not saying it is happening. I'm saying it's going to be a decision as it's happening, if that is the case that's going down. A sort of man like that don't want to pay legal fees and all type of other stuff, because then that's to say you're going to start sliding downhill with that next. Is to say you ain't going to want to pay everything else. That's how people go to jail. Bill Cosby himself is in fact a rebel. He's a rebel. Because to not live certain things by law is to say to state the case on even that. The game has been wrecked. Had to call him out. Which is why he works in Hollywood. But see, Hollywood, yes, people consider evil-minded individuals Hollywood. I myself is considered the same thing, right? But to know that you can get away with all type of things is to say that that sort of thing in fact does, and it has an effect on the innocent victims, the mindset, right? It has an effect on a jail cell as well. A jail cell as well, and what will await you if Bill Cosby don't clean that up or take care of his senile issues or something. Get on some prescription drugs and handle that senile activity. That ain't gonna work for long, because even with Hollywood being its own world, most people don't even know that about Hollywood, and the attorneys are not the same as, say, an attorney on the outside of Hollywood. That sort of thing is not the same. To say, well, you know, I need an attorney, or I got some legal issues and I'm not in Hollywood, is to say you're gonna need different type of attorneys for that. Say you crash into somebody, right? You might need to go to court. That's an attorney you're going to have to, in fact, pull. And yet that attorney is not going to operate in the same way as in a Hollywood attorney, which is why many individuals such as a Bill Cosby get off on crimes and all that, despite being called and, yes, guilty, as it's been stated, right? That's to say he got off pertaining to he's not behind the four walls of a jail cell. He's in fact freely roaming in the four walls of his house. That's what Hollywood does. Because see, innocent victims, yes, do in fact have to suffer, as well as those that run these agencies, as in legal fees in which Bill fails to pay. That's to say, Hollywood will only protect you for so long, yes, depending on how much money you have being a celebrity yet, right? And yet you do in fact have celebrities that do in fact go to jail, is what I'm trying to say. Because to keep repeating stuff over and doing the same process is to say, even celebrity itself will say, hell, what the fuck, and that will be the end for you, as in you're sitting down in a jail cell. Sometimes where even people in Hollywood in fact need to be the celebrity, when they're just randomly taking advantage of innocent victims, and not only that, taking advantage of people that are, yes, with the legal fees, putting in their hard-earned work and other stuff with that, right? Because even to go to court is to say somebody had to be there, as in somebody has to be paid and dress up nice in a suit with the swag with that, so that you can present yourself over the legal issues or whatever you decided to do, dear Bill Cosby, right? It helps to play the game right, because if not, it leads to that sort of thing. When I spoke about how I can be highly unprofessional and yet I'm known to take care of business. Yes, I am fully right, whether unprofessional or not. I know just to do what needs to be done, right? You got people that try to bypass with that. You can be a celebrity, yes, but at least do what needs to be done, as in the fairness aspect to everybody. And yet not everybody lives that way. They just climb and step over people. That's part of Hollywood as well, to get to where you're going. To leave your wife out on a decision is to say that. What do you have with that? I do, in fact, think that Bill is getting senile, or becoming more and more senile or something. Or something about this situation is off, as in it might not even be truth. That's why it helps to question stuff like that when it don't sit and look right, even with me. When I say, well, Bill is doing a Bitcoin and yet he chose to leave his wife out. That's what is stated by sources. What? Bill ain't never been known to leave his wife out. And she ain't never been known to leave him out. You see how close enough she is to his side? You see what I'm saying? Some of these Hollywood reports in itself, yes, be scandalous and enough. And yet some people that when the stories be written, Bill Cosby's wife ain't going nowhere. She can be cheated on for days, and even that she ain't going nowhere because she's receiving a check, as in a pocketbook. Bill Cosby his own. Because I'm thinking if I was a wife, I possibly at that age wouldn't go nowhere either. His wife, I'm saying, Camille. Where you gonna go at that age? I'm saying, even though if Bill was cheating and doing stuff to girls even way back then, that's to not say I support the man. No, that's not saying that. People have questioned even Oprah Winfrey about that. She don't speak about that, and I see why, right? You don't want to get too tied up in a situation as a Bill Cosby, and I spoke about even that because that can mess you up, right? But I'm saying, speaking of Camille being married to a man, because see, some women in fact have a household mentality. Not a household. No, not a household. A household mentality. As in, the man will tell you, well, baby, or young love, or whatever, I will go to work. And you are to make up, yes, the bed, cook the dinner for the children, feed and wash the clothes. And yes, I'll go do this with studio production and all the rest with audiences to make money and all that while you stay home. Care for the children or whatever, right? Because the thing about it, Bill been doing what he's been doing since the beginning of time, and not many people know. Well, I guess they do know now, and yet they didn't, right? But with that sort of thing, is to say, with Camille, how was he treating her? No, not abuse, not that, but taking care of her, as in telling her to stay home and say not do all this and be all up and down the street. Camille herself trying to get money to provide for even her own self. And that's not to say that Camille is going along with what he does. No, she's just his wife. And yet, once again, to run a household in that type of form and fashion is to say is done in Bonnie and Clyde style on Bill Cosby. And it has to be for a woman to put up with that being cheated on and him taking advantage, as in how worse can that be? Your husband putting people to sleep to have sex with him, right? That shows something is wrong there, right? The mindset of Bill Cosby, his own, right? And yet for you to stay married is to say you do in fact support him, right? Camille, because people question, well, why is she still there? Possibly could be a paycheck, but not fully, completely. Because some women in fact be in love with somebody and say married to them, and they hoping and believing that sort of thing is not true, as in when it is, the denial aspect of when say you're married to somebody and they take advantage of somebody, your husband being Bill Cosby, and you're supporting him, and then you're saying, well, I don't agree with that, and yet I really don't know what to think and feel completely, me being his wife, and I don't just want to leave him, because if I leave him, it look like I was just married to him for his money. You don't know what type of mindset Camille, even herself, could be thinking on her end. Well, if I leave Bill, I've been with him for so long, he did whatever cheating on me. But if I leave him, knowing I don't support all that, more than likely she don't support that type of stuff. What woman supports being cheated on, right? But once again, what type of money and where is she gonna go? Because once again, Camille herself is not a celebrity. She's gonna have to go back and get a regular everyday 9-to-5 type job. You see where I'm going with this? And yet to sit still and sit comfortable is to say, well, Bill, I don't agree with you with that, right? You're my husband. And yet I really don't want to leave because maybe I'm in denial and I really don't want to face what. But at the same time, I don't want to leave you alone, because nobody even knows the mindset of Bill Cosby in the four walls of his house, as in the type of man he can be. Bill Cosby might be the type of individuals, like how many celebrities are, that are prone to have mental breakdowns after they done did something wrong, right? And you got to pay the price with even that. And there's a subconscious as well as conscious mind that reminds you of the wrongs that you did. A man like Bill Cosby may or may not be able to live alone by himself. He might in fact have to stay with somebody else, such as a Camille, to make sure he does stuff right, which is why sometimes many of these women choose to stay and stick with husbands from the beginning, because some of these men in fact make wrong choices, and yet men are prone to die even before women do. And yet you got people that care enough that even if they're, say, treated bad by, say, their husband, as in not abusive, but say they're mistreated by him cheating, that's mistreatment as well. Sometimes women would in fact stick and stay with a Bill Cosby because they know that he has more deep-rooted issues, as in there's a feeling sorry for him while you're living and laid up next to the man while he's in bed. Some women like a Camille or whoever else, I'm not saying that's a situation, but for many individuals that is in fact it, because they will know, well, if he did that to me, cheated on me, but more than likely was slipping stuff, and when these women drink to put them to sleep to have sex, is to say, well, I feel sorry that he did that. Something must be wrong with him, so I must need to stay and stick with him to take care of him. I'm thinking that's maybe how a Camille on her end thinks and feels. She possibly feels sorry for him more than anything, and possibly more than she's able to see and recognize even her own hurt. Because even some women are gentle enough to do that. They'll put their hurt to the side, knowing that something is wrong with their husband, and will stay and stick with that, and they won't leave. And yet the younger generation, Bill Cosby and his wife Camille was even young back then. And today the younger generation wouldn't stand for that. I possibly wouldn't. I would tell him go seek some help and some therapy and leave him to that, maybe, right? And yet the younger generation would want to in fact kick Bill to the curb and say, yes, be having him, yes, pay their bills and all the rest from afar and divorce, as in use the man up as a payback for what he done, the cheating and all the rest. Many individuals would in fact do that sort of thing. Use Bill up for what they can get in divorce and let that be the end of that. And yet Camille, that's not her. She seems to be staying. Because I always ask myself, I do, and maybe I should and maybe I shouldn't, I don't know. Where else is Camille going to go? If she leaves Bill Cosby of all people, him being, remember, corporate world and what Bill was supposed to get pertaining to corporation and taking over and trying to buy with the buyout and the sellout and gaining and all. acquisitions and all things pointing to stuff with that. Acquisitions as well, mergers and all that, right, pertain to corporate. And yet that's the ask to know to be that big, a Bill Cosby, black and all that. Yes, the American dad, as many individuals like to call him, being known all over the world, is to say, where is Camille fitting if she was to leave him after this court situation, and even before, when she first found out when she found out that she was being cheated on, where was she going to go? Because I don't think Camille Cosby, I don't think she really holds too many talent, skills, and all the rest in the style of Bill Cosby. Just because you're married to somebody don't mean you have the same gifts, talents, and skills and able to operate in their same type of strategy and lane if you were to leave and divorce. So how does that play out? Would she have to go work a low income job? That's all I'm trying to ask in the end. Even in Bill, if he's trying to keep her from getting the money pertaining to Bitcoin and all this other stuff of which I spoke on. How would that play out for Camille on her end? Because I'm thinking if I was married to a celebrity of that caliber, and that happened during the time when we were young and just, doing stuff industry-wise, the TV shows, the Cosby Show, and all the rest that Bill has had, right, and built and all that. There's kids with that comes with that. Which is too why women sometimes stay, even despite their kids being grown, because they don't really want to tear and rip up the family with that. Despite this man having something wrong with him. Bill Cosby, there's in fact something wrong. Because I know everybody that, yes, watching this is be like, well, I wouldn't stay with him, right? Some women, in fact, do, because they have your children there. As in when it was first taking place, the cheating, you want to, in fact, question, too, how was Camille? Yes, because all this has been going on for years. The cheating, or the scandal of him slipping stuff in women's drinks and making them victims with that, right? That's to ask even the mindset of Camille of while she was having children, and he more than likely was still doing that sort of thing. Yes, he was, right? It's to ask, what was she thinking as she was putting them to bed at night and pulling the covers back and all that other stuff? Camille, wife of Bill Cosby. Was she thinking in her mind, oh, I'm so hurt by this, and yet I can't leave because I got these children. I can't go back and work at no Taco Bell. I can't go back and work at no Dollar Tree or no Dollar General or whatever during those times, whatever existed back then. Today we have McDonald's and all the rest that existed too. But I can't go back and work at no, today we have Walmart, whatever convenience stores, high-end stores, Macy's. I'm thinking Camille had to have had that play out on her mind. As in, I'm married to this man, he's cheating on me, he's doing all this and this and that, and yet, where am I going to go? Having these children. Whether small children, adult children. Because see, men just don't pop up on the scene and be cheating while they're married. Sometimes they even be cheating even before the marriage. And sometimes the person they're getting with know or don't know. Or they find out right after. There's individuals that in fact get with people, as in date them, fall in love, get right before they get married, right? Or sometimes even right after. I should say right after. They get married right after. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a year later they find out the person they married is now cheating on them. That's an embarrassment which they try to keep quiet because they don't know. Because to be having babies and all that other stuff is to say that sort of thing you want to tone down, keep quiet away from people. Keep it away from family members and stuff. Some people go in hiding with even that, as in not telling. Not hiding publicly, but not saying that sort of thing may have taken place. Yeah. Knowing that you want to be with a man. Feel sometimes, not that you're desperate, but many women do feel that they're desperate to be with a man, right? And then get with him, get married off, marry him off or whatever. And then before you know it, he's cheating right after the marriage, sometimes even a year or 2 years later. And then by then it's too late. Some women would in fact pack up and divorce with that, and yet not everybody's that way. Because depending on how you were raised, even in the old generation, it's to say even sometimes the older generation will teach you, as in the parents and the lessons where they have told, yes, the older generation have told even their kids to stick it out and stay, even in the cheating. So you have to ask even Camille how her parents raised her on the end pertaining to the older generation. Even Michael Jackson, Janet Jackson, their mom is like that. Which is why she stayed with Joseph Jackson, Joe Jackson, as everybody known, Papa Joe. Which is why she stayed with him as long as she did, and then ended up, yes, disconnecting later. Is because she was raised in that old mindset of stick it out and stay and last. With that, despite everything being, yes, being messy of somebody cheating on you. That older generation, that's the old model, it is. And yet today, the marriages nowadays only last about 7 years, if even that long, and then it's over. Some people 3 or 4 years and it's over, right? It don't last that long. And yet the older generation, the marriages last for 60 something years. Sometimes longer than that, depending on how some of these old folks live, right? As in the years. And they don't die out. But yeah, Camille, that just don't seem like that's gonna work out for her to ever leave him, unless she leave him and end up with some other celebrity. And that's not to say that's why she was there in the first place. No, because you want to even go back even that far, as in the question even with Camille when they first got started, her relationship with him, how successful was he even then? You got some women that in fact do marry for money, and yet not everybody do, right? But to leave out of a situation that big and have it that good, despite being cheated on this, and know you're going to want to walk into a new situation after you leave a Bill Cosby and end up with a man not in that same type of form and fashion, but with that same type of money. You go up in life, you don't go down, right? I'm saying in making bills. Camille more likely has her own bills, in which I'm sure Bill Cosby covers. And yet sometimes even women like to have their own money to the side. Even if the man is making the money, the most money, they like to put money to the side. And yet to live such a big life like that is to know sometimes it can be lavish, even when the public doesn't see. As in more bills are being made, which mean more money has to, yes, somewhere be put to the side, even if a man wants to leave you. And yet for Camille, that's to say what even her, you want to continue to go up in life and not down, as in backwards. Because if Camille leave Bill, then that's to say, well, what other celebrity can she go turn to that's relatable, like-minded, like her? See what I'm saying? That sort of thing is kind of hard and rare to be a Camille Cosby and say go be finding some man outside of Bill, divorce Bill, get with that new man, and they on the mindset, a wavelength of a Bill Cosby in the financial. Because financial is about surviving. I myself is broke sitting here. Many individuals is, despite who I'm with. I'm not a celebrity, which is why I'm all famous with the dollar sign and all the connection. With even that, the dollar sign hanging connection. Well, here it is, right? To become celebrities, in fact, yes, go for broke sometimes and even rich, right? Itself for even her. For Camille to leave Bill Cosby is to go backwards in life and say her end up with a man, I'm thinking that more than likely will make less money, because you have to ask, well, what other would she want to go down, unless say she get with an attorney? Seeming there's life lessons and even that, the court cases and all the rest. Say even Camille herself want to change up on the loose string of men and go for something else or something. That would be to set her finances side by side with even a attorney. Not a gentle spoken attorney, no. A brash spoken and brazen attorney that can get the job done, get things done, and speak what's on his mind, because even that leads to even more money, right? On the end of the attorney. I'm trying to see what in all directions what type of men could even Camille herself end up with. Hollywood attorney I was speaking on. Entertainment attorney, right? That's what I was speaking on. But anything outside of that, it just don't seem like it's going to work for Camille. Denzel Washington is already married, right? I'm trying to think of what else celebrity her age. Because see, they're already up in age. That's where I'm going. And so older people are known to get comfortable with the things that they do over lifespans and all the rest, right? There ain't no running back to no younger man at Camille Cosby age, because even that can lead to more stress. Her getting with a much younger man that has money and possibly he's an actor or celebrity, right? Or possibly even entertainment attorney or something, right? And she get with him, that's a dip down lower, right? But that's to say he more than likely will be cheating or something, because even younger men like to do that sort of thing. So why not just stick it out with a Bill Cosby is all I'm trying to say. Because anywhere Camille goes, she's going to deal with that. Either or. She might in fact leave Bill Cosby and get with another celebrity that somewhat is near Bill Cosby caliber, and yet chances are slim with even that. Because once again, who in the industry is on that caliber of Bill Cosby, right? And not only that, they in fact have bills together. Bill Cosby don't just have bills by his own. They in fact have made bills together. Putting stuff in people's name, their own name, each other's name, one another's name, houses, cars, leasing stuff, going to hotel. You got all type of stuff, and then their children and all that other stuff, making sure that they have the best despite them being able to take care for themselves. You still want to make sure your children are well off. That sort of thing I don't think you want to mess with. I'm saying splitting up the family despite all that. That's not saying I support him or his actions, no. But at the same time, I look at Bill Cosby's children just as much as I look at the man himself. I would tell even Bill Cosby off to his face. I wouldn't fear that sort of thing, telling him where he's wrong and where you need to apologize and get on TV and tell everybody you're sorry, such as rape victims and innocent people that you never even raped or met or knew, and say sorry to even those people that have been raped by other people that you don't know. But issue a statement and say it yourself, and not let the teams of people, your PR team, do that. You do it yourself, and not on Twitter. Dear Bill Cosby, right? He might in fact need to see this video as well. To say sorry to everybody that was a rape victim on Bill Cosby on his end, saying that out of his mouth on CNN, Fox News will be to tell you, what do you have, a real man, if you do that sort of thing on CNN or Fox News, right? But yeah, I look more so at his kids, as in when Bill dies. Because see, to have a situation like that is to say you're going to be paid for life, even Bill Cosby. Because even once a TV is turned off, such as when the lights go dim on his end, Bill Cosby, and he dies, it's to say even children are going to be left behind the TV set, as in the trap of what he left. One of his daughters, have in fact, died off. Rest in peace with even that, right? But I'm saying when he leaves this earth, those TV shows more than likely will be put back on the TV screen. Possibly already have, as you have seen, right? Taken off and put back on or whatever, right? Pertain to that is that when he died, when people die, whatever was pulled off the TV screen get put back on. And not only that, the mass media blows up the man even more louder, just the way that they did Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson being shunned for molestation, and now that he's dead and gone, he's the most worshipped thing, even more valuable in death. That's the same thing with Bill Cosby, and yet with even that, his children has to be paid something. Paid something despite him say the way that he took advantage of individual. It's not right, no. And yet even his children have to survive if something happens to him. That's just the way that life operates, right? Yes, to be taken advantage of is to get taken advantage of, as in a lawsuit on Bill Cosby, and as in what he shouldn't have did, placing his hands on them women, and yet them getting back to, on even him, them taking advantage of him for them taking advantage of them, right? And yet even his children have to survive and even handle his estate once he's gone, and his wife as well if he dies tomorrow, right? Because even she has to survive. All this is about surviving, whether it's right or wrong. People going to be mad about that even on their end. And yet, if that was them, the Bill Cosby situation, I don't agree with anything that he did. And yet, one thing I do agree with is a survival aspect of all his stuff needing to be there if he died of a heart attack tomorrow. And you know that media is going to blast him over and over and wanting to worship him again, as in the dollar is going to need to go to somebody, and more than likely Camille, so that she can continue to live, survive, and eat. I stated that about Michael Jackson pertaining to people hating the Jackson family, or when even Michael died, and people hating his kids because they said, well, his kids don't look like him. Well, everybody still has to survive, live, and eat despite what has happened, because you yourself in fact do wrong things, and yet you're able still to go to work tomorrow despite everybody talking to you. Yes, and being able to eat. We all have to do something to eat. That's just the way that life works. To not work or do things is to not eat, right? Even in the scandal, you just can't say, well, there's a scandal and that's the end of that. No, you still got back bills and all the rest that need to be paid, as in they're going to pile up if you stop doing whatever. Not the rape, no, if you stop bringing money in, and especially if you got a wife and you got kids, that sort of thing is not gonna work. Because I'm thinking at any time with even Bill Cosby, something could happen to him. He could die. And right after Camille, she could get sick or something, right? And then say one of his kids have a financial issue. You see where I'm going with even that? Is to say even that has to stick. Bill could die. Camille could get sick because they're well up in age, right? And then they got kids. And that's to say that something can happen financially with their kid or something like that. And all of that is to still say money has to still be made with that. Because that's a family empire. The Jackson family empire, that as well. LaToya, she was featured on the OWN network. Yes, the Jackson family was, in fact, featured on the Oprah Winfrey network. To show even that the empire and daddy issues with that. Janet has daddy issues. They all do, right? But even with Bill Cosby himself is to say that you're in fact running a family business. And even Camille is tied in with that. Camille, his wife, is tied in with that, as well as his children. So that still has to keep going. And yet there still has to be a reimbursement on the end of the family, as in the ones he's taking advantage of, and that needs to be, yes, considered, as in that ain't something you just walk away from to say, well, I take advantage of these women, make them drop their panties, and yet they ain't want the ones that pulled it down. I chose to pull it down, right? Some of them women have in fact lied to get money and all that other stuff. With that, you want to make sure in the court of law who's telling the truth and who's not, so that people don't take advantage of you with that. That's why you have prosecution and prosecutors and everything else that goes into that. Yeah, I said the attorney, to make sure you get it right, because it take too much away for even the family in relation to people that lie on a Bill Cosby, is to say, them people might in fact put you out of house and home, as well as in the liars. Some women that they might not have been raped by him. They might have used that to get in his pocket. Those individuals exist as well on Bill Cosby. And you in fact want to make sure in the courtroom who's telling the truth and who is not. So to fix that, to make sure it doesn't happen, as in not happening, so that you don't be, yes, put out of house and home with that. Now somebody else is living all lavish with your lifestyle after they done lied. That sort of thing you don't want. You want to, in fact, make sure in court you do that sort of thing right. But the innocent victims and all that, with the rape, you want to reimburse them people. That ain't gonna work out. That's not going to work out. That's not right. Because then you'll start to question God. Well, that is not right. What? He got to do what and walk away? No, sorry, no, ain't happening. That you just got to do that bill, as well as the legal fees. All that goes together. But yeah, the Bitcoin and all that. What did I write? Because I didn't even finish that, right? But yet, the Bitcoin, all of this news, All of this news comes after Cosby added 25 million. When I stated that pertaining to him, yes, trying to keep that 5 million fortune in him, yeah, collabing on the Bitcoin, right? All of this news comes after Cosby added up 25 million in unpaid legal bills after losing a case against him. I said that you don't want to start making wrong choices just because of based off what you lost. No, you want to set that right? Despite you might in fact want to go back to court over and over again during these type of situations. That ain't gonna work to say, well, let me go over here with a Bitcoin and do this and all this and set up shop with that and possibly wreck shop in the process, right? Because I lost a court case or something. I lost a case or something against me being Bill Cosby. No, you want to set that straight in court as in go back. Who don't know that sort of thing? And where is Bill's team at? Handle the senile aspect is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so yeah. It says because of this, the 25 million in unpaid legal bills which is why the Bitcoin decision supposedly, allegedly, I should say, right? That's why that's there. And supposedly he's doing this, yes, all of this because he took out mortgages too on his California and New York home to help with his financial situation. Bill might in fact, but I'm thinking because sometimes too that might be why he made the decision to do what he does with the Bitcoin, because yeah, the more you go back to court, the more legal fees with that as an attorney fees and all the rest, and the time invested in that, because time is money, right? Which could be the decision too. And yet I'm thinking for me, I might need to pop off something as in fix something to improve my mindset to get to work on even that outside of the rape allegation so that I can bring more money. Yes, to go back and fix something pertaining to whatever I done lost in court. Some people go to court over and over again despite how much money they have. And yet not many people do to prevent themselves going into a hole and possibly not going towards the end of bankrupt. That can lead to that, going back and forth to court over that sort of thing. Yeah, which is why the decision. So I don't judge him on even that because I really don't know. I'm not in the four walls of his house or Camille's or the children of Bill, right? But to be going further and further into a hole is to say what goes around comes around in the end. It always does. That going back and forth with individuals such as raping and taking advantage of women will do that sort of thing, as in the repercussions come in the end. They always do. To pose in it, because see, that's embarrassing. Yeah, that in itself is completely that. Taking advantage, laying down with a woman and she don't know what is about to happen because she's completely asleep, as in eyes completely closed, as in a fully clonked out with even that, right? It's to say even repercussion can stand in that, right? That sort of thing you don't want to do. You in fact want to like give back by not putting your hands on a woman trying to rape her in the first place. Because to have legal issues now with Bill, come on, man. Even he should have knew that sort of thing. I'm thinking Bill should have knew that sort of thing. Something about Bill Cosby's story just don't be right sometimes. The right and the wrong and the off layering aspect. Because for a man to get that big is to say, well, why is he there? I said that. You always want to question, why is he there, right? How did he get there? Who did he know in order to get there and all the rest, right? But more than anything, why was he raping those females? And how was he able to get away with that sort of thing for long? Possibly status, yes, and all the rest. And even Bill was known to threaten him. Yes, he was. I won't say with death, but possibly something else. But he was, in fact, known to threaten them to keep quiet on the secrecy. That's why secret societies, in fact, exist. They do. Time is telling on that, as in my end. What I ain't saying. To join one is to say, right? What you can and can't say. When you've been raped and all this other stuff, or hazed, that goes into it too. People hazing people. Secret societies, right? But even that is his own secret society, to be raped by a grown man and be threatened enough not to say out your mouth. as in him threatening, saying this will be the end of you if you say this out your mouth, and I'm your daddy and all this other stuff, right? Beating somebody down on a self-esteem. Because possibly many of these women may or may not come from broken homes, and to take advantage of that, that's messed up. That's an abuse of power is what I'm trying to say. To beat somebody down and break them all the way, yes, in the level of the self-esteem of saying, well, I'm your daddy, I'm American dad, young victim of mine, and you're pretty and I want to take advantage of you and you're going to do what I say, and then after I rape you or whatever, them not knowing, the women not knowing until they wake up and they find out what happened, right? Him threatening them, you bet not ever say this or that, right? That's to say that's a complete abuse of power. Because to have a wife is to say you got sex open opportunity, even that. The door is wide open at any time of the day to have a wife. And yet I'm thinking to get married, some of these men in fact get bored, and yet some people question, well, why cheat in the first place? Supposedly it's a thrill for some people to be cheating, going against their wives and husbands when they ain't nowhere around, sleeping with other individuals in the bed. Supposedly there's a thrill with that. That's what it said and stated. Some people get excited about that. I guess the not knowing aspect, I don't know, right? I don't even know. But yeah, that Bill should have known, because see, to be working for the public, in the public eye, it's a no. At any time anybody could get mad, and yeah, you have issues with even that, right? It's to say, why do that sort of thing? Why pose yourself a problem with even that? Dear Bill Cosby, I might in fact, yeah, email this video, because I keep saying and sensing that even Bill Cosby himself might need to see this video. Man, that's a true statement. Anybody want to contact me back on that? You might in fact might want to see this video to see what I said about Camille, his wife, as well. Because you never know what even Camille be sitting and standing and even sleeping in bed next to him, and even herself not telling him. Even some wives don't say when they're laid up to a man, laid up in the bed next to a man such as Bill that have committed those type of things, right? Some of them people don't, the wives don't know what to say to their husband, and so sometimes a husband don't even know what she thinks, sense, and feel. She's just there to be there, right? Because of children and stuff like that, or not knowing where to go if she divorced, right? Some men like Bill Cosby don't know what they wives think. And yet, if you were to be friends with somebody like him, it's to say to him, being a man he is, to say to him just like I did in the way that I did when I mentioned her. I speak to when I spoke to my granddad about that sort of thing, because I have an uncle that's much younger than me, right? I'm almost 40. I got a few more years to go, and yet I got an uncle that's much more younger than me. And yet I speak like this to people to say, because sometimes, the reason why I speak like this, because sometimes people are not often well aware to how their other half feel, or how their child feel, or how their husband, wife feel, right? And yet sometimes that sort of thing you should in fact say, as in the telling. And it's not my place to tell people, no, it's not. And yet I just say, because even that ends mass confusion when you tell your other half or whatever how you think and feel when stuff like this happens, a Bill Cosby situation or family situation or whatnot. That settles the mess. It can make it much more bigger, who knows, and yet it does settle some of it to a point. Yet not everybody want to face their problems. Possibly not even Bill Cosby, which is why he keep messing up on that. On the retuck. And I don't mean no skin pulled back. That's funny in itself. See how my thinking processes go? Did you catch that? I said on the tuck. On the tuck, no skin pulled back. Notice I didn't even prepare for that. That's just how my thoughts think. And I don't stop them, because to stop them is for me to become imbalanced on my own end. Talking gentle don't work for me. So, I think that's the end for now in relation to Bill Cosby, because you always are trying to see. So many of us is always trying to see what could be the reason of various things. Because I'm slowly waiting to see when Bill Cosby died. That's not saying I'm expecting that. No, it's not. I'm looking at his legal issues pertaining to the mess, as in what's been left behind, the women and them victimization with that, right? The victimized women, right? Being raped and like that. But I'm waiting to see when it comes to Bill Cosby, and say when he drift off, as in a death, as in, yeah, right, because the age, that's how it comes. Bill Cosby might in fact not. By Bill Cosby, something be telling me that, but depending on his stress level on there over there and how Bill operates, he can get very angry as well. Didn't I state that? How even you can see that on the TV screen, even Bill, or has that not been aired? Hollywood know about that sort of thing, where Bill Cosby get real angry and go off on his teams of people. That's in fact a true statement, right? PR people that handle his public relations and all the rest, right? And the bitterness that shows with that sort of thing would in fact lead to an early grave on Bill end, right? But there has to be a lot of stress over there. Stress. Because to have a scandal that big and have other legal issues with that is to say, what do you have? I wonder if an early grave with that. Bill Cosby is doing what right now? I would love to even know, outside the news and the media. As in, who do he be going off on when nobody has seen him? That isn't funny. It's funny, and yet it's in truth about the Bill Cosby himself, the man himself, going off on people. True, real life. Yelling and all that, real life. He tried that one in the courtroom too. That's so funny how it came out in the courtroom, and yet that's like one of the first times. I'm saying it's very highly irregular. I'm thinking even he should have allowed that to be shown, as in his speech when he was giving it to individuals in the classroom, when he would step to the podium and be giving black folks the lecture of all things. That's why it helps to be yourself, as in showing that despite people getting mad and wanting you to be sweet all the time, that political correctness poses problems to society because it's not real and it's not authentic. And then when a Bill Cosby situation slap you in the face, you see how real people can be, even the celebrities, right? And yet, yeah, people in the public wouldn't, because political correctness is standing that is to say you can never be a Bill Cosby going off or screaming at the podium while you're giving a lecture or commencement speech at a college or something like that. Sometimes world-renowned colleges, right? Standing up there, Harvard and all them other places where you give speeches. Even Oprah Winfrey herself does that. And yet the public, because they want things done gracefully all the time, and yet there's issues with even that. Because see, if Bill Cosby, he's known to joke and laugh and speak about stuff and say about pudding and all that other stuff, and yet other stuff he try to hide away, right? But if he could be known to get violent, not hand and not physically, Bill Cosby screaming and going off on whoever his teams that work for him, right? And keeping that hidden. If he would do that sort of thing, or if he would have did that sort of thing, even in real life, on the podium, at the podium during the commencement speeches or whatever else at them colleges, speaking to them black kids about pulling up their pants and all that, all the rest, people would have taken him more real and authentic. Bill Cosby, the American Dad, or where the persona matches, where oftentimes you can't live completely real on the TV screen as in the set, because there's political correctness up underneath that, which is why I don't like it. Because see, Bill Cosby could be a very angry man, and he showed that once for life in the courtroom, him going off, flipping off, right? And people like, oh my gosh, what was that? And that's once again to say he should have did that at them colleges that he spoke to, when he was putting down all type of black people, saying they need to pull up their pants and all that and all this. He should have showed some of that, the screaming, while he was doing it, because then they would have said, oh, well, he's like us. Instead of doing it all uppity is what I'm trying to say. Bill Cosby should have in his commencement speech or whatever places that he was going and roaming to and sitting there. He went all type of places and not just colleges, yes, to speak and give lectures on how black males and all the rest need to pull up their pants. Right? But even black males oftentimes have violent tendencies, as in not physically putting your hands on something, but screaming and going off and not whispering. When they get mad, black males are known to do that sort of thing. And yet to be more relatable is for Bill Cosby, he should have did that sort of thing. Screaming went off about how he's upset that black males walk around with their pants hanging down, right? Because see, what they would have did is taken him as for a more real life individual and not him standing there thinking that he was quite above as he was talking to them. Because see, to be talking all soft and sweet and being Bill Cosby talking all soft and sweet how you don't like how these black males walk with their pants sagging and hanging down is to say they're going to think that you're above them. And yet to come real ruthless in the mouth in a scandal of you talking like, well, yes, I can be like this American dad and I can be like this and this and this and that. But let me show you how human I can be. I'm going to go off and teach y'all that y'all might in fact need to pull your pants up. Dear young fuck with even that and saying it in the microphone. That shows you more real. Some people might have in fact wanted to possibly walk away. They would have wanted to walk away from Bill Cosby if he would have showed that. Because see, look, to talk to a people, to be a celebrity and be that high status and talk to a people that's not on your same level as them, not making the same money as you, right? And say you want to talk down to them, or not even talk down, but to many kids, that's what they felt like Bill Cosby was doing. And yet, what I'm trying to say is to talk to certain people is to drape up in the cloth, right? I'm not saying go full gangster, full-fledged with that, no. But no, in order for Bill Cosby to get the message across to people that he want them to rise to his level is for him to come out of pocket as well. Because see, black males, yes, go off and get angry with even that. But once again, that would have been the very thing that saved Bill Cosby to a point, as in where the black community no longer likes him. He should have went off just like the way that many of them go off and made it more real and authentic. In place of being all that political dumb fuck stuff. Oh, well, let me speak like this because I'm Bill Cosby, and let me speak real proper like this while I'm talking to the people, yes, and the black males, how they need to pull up their pants. That ain't gonna work. They ain't gonna want to listen. You got to go all the way in and be vocal with that, as in match up on their level with that. Talk the way that they talk, and even talk hip some with that. The sturdy aspect of what I know with that. I'm saying it's all about coming to people's level when you talk to people, right? It in fact is, right? Sometimes people might need to in fact come up to your level, which could be why Bill Cosby did that sort of thing. He possibly felt like he didn't want to dip down to their level. He wanted them to be a rise above like he is. He is, and yet even there's a way for that. His team should have told him even that. But sometimes to stand too close to white people, sometimes to be black and stand too close to white people is almost to become one of them, as it's been called, right? You're almost, when you're a Bill Cosby or whoever, and you're standing in the limelight and say black people as well as white people. Many black people don't want to lose their total white following by doing that sort of thing. Going almost completely street and hood on some hood kids where you want them to pull up their pants in place of letting it sag. Somebody like Bill Cosby seemed like the type that he wouldn't want to do that sort of thing, because he would more likely lose his white following as well as his white support and funding. That's why people don't do that. They don't take the chance to do that, right? I myself don't even care, because I know if I get sick or something crazy happen with me, many of those white individuals or even black individuals more likely will leave me to waste away. Yes, and even that sort of thing, right? They would in fact leave me or something like that. So I just say anything I'm going to say any time of the day, and I would even if I was a celebrity. There's a putting on clothes is what I'm trying to say. And when you talk to people, so okay, well, if I'm going to, let me see, if I'm going to talk to Snoop Dogg and I want Snoop Dogg to fix whatever situation, right? I know Snoop Dogg is gangster over there. So I'm not going to sit on no political bullshit and be talking all sweet and soft and casual to no Snoop Dogg knowing that he need to fix that. No, I'm going to talk on his level, which is completely gangsta with that. I just am. Because that's the only way he's going to be able to hear me and process that sort of thing. The gangster aspect, okay, well, Snoop Dogg needs to not keep doing this and let me go tell him I got to talk on his level, right? I could rise above. You want to do that somewhat too, but you in fact do want to talk on his level. And yet you're not going to bring that political bullshit with even that, because he ain't going to hear that. That's why I don't talk like with people that when they be losers and they don't want to come up, well, I got to talk on your level as the loser level of when you fail to recognize this is in fact a problem. So seeming you want to act like a loser, then I got to talk to you as you being the loser you are until you come up and rise up. I got to match that. I'm trying to say when I'm talking to somebody, whoever they are, I got to match that. If you're Tupac Shakur and say you came up whatever background Tupac had, right? And say you're not really gangster or whatever, and you're gonna try to sell some albums and make some album sales with even that being Tupac, and say you didn't really come from that background fully, and yet you want to serve and put out albums, is to say you gotta in fact meet those sort of people, as in whoever that mindset is aimed at. That's a target audience. Yes, some people might in fact call that switching up or being a chameleon. How some people can change their personality depending on who they around and who they with. Some people might say, well, that's fake and that's fickle. Well, if you're trying to get a message across, is to in fact come to that person's level of their thinking and not bring that political bullshit and the shiny whatever with that saying, well, let me see how gentle I can make this. No, I think not. Because that ain't gonna work either. That don't serve nobody talking all gentle, telling some hood niggas, hood niggas, which they like to call themselves, telling them they need to pull up their pants and saying it all nice and serving it all nice. No. Because even they need to get with the program, or even that. I'm saying if they're failures. It's all type of ways you can look at even that sort of situation, which I just did the Bill Cosby talk of what I'm speaking on. You either gonna look down at yourself while Bill Cosby is telling you to pull up your pants, or you're gonna look up on yourself. And if you look up, you ain't gonna pay too much attention to him. No way. I'm saying an individual. Some people, you do have some individuals that are in fact sorry out here, as in they can't, get with the program, getting their life and their mind right or whatever, right? I let everybody do their own thing. But even with that, it's to say, well, Bill Cosby called you out about your pants, and yet if that sort of thing don't fit you, as in him telling you what you need to fix, is to say, why be mad and devastated? As in just going about your business with even that, right? I'm saying because when he said black males, he's saying black males as a whole, but he might not even be talking about you. He could be just talking about random individuals that's failures that want to stay failures. That is off the hook. So stuff like that, when people be saying, well, black this or that, I really don't take it too personal, because I might in fact be brown and gold, my skin tone, right? And yet if they don't say my name, I care not to know. Or if they don't say it directly as in a personal outside of black. See, some people get mad when say somebody say, well, you black and you need to fix this and you need to fix that, you need to fix this, and they didn't come to me directly, stand in front of my face outside of the podium and tell me. So why am I even mad? I get mad at people that come right in my face and tell me what I need to do if it don't batter me. If they're trying to do something to use me or abuse me or something like that, yeah, I get mad in that. But if they're trying to come directly to me and say it to my face and call me by name, outside of them calling me black, right? If they don't say it to me, I'm not too much mad about that. Black folks got to be a little less sensitive, yes, as well. Because just because Bill Cosby, whoever, say, well, you know, black people, they're not speaking on all black people. Because even himself, Bill Cosby, whoever else is black as well. That lets you know he's not speaking to all black people. Because if he was speaking to all black people, he would be speaking to himself as well. Donald Trump, I don't get offended by even his mouth when he say black people and he target black people by saying stuff, putting them down or whatever, because he ain't talking to me. He don't even know me. He don't know me personally by name, so I give a flying fuck about even what he say. That man will never meet me in life, Donald Trump himself. I'm saying. will never meet me. So why am I even offended about that? I can care not to know. And yet individuals, when they come on my YouTube, for me, yes, I have to say what I'm going to say. Whatever, right? Tell them fuck off with even that. But yeah, black people as a whole, I can't get caught up in that whole name of, oh, I'm black and I'm offended. That ain't gonna work for me. That more likely kill me quicker than anything, whether Bill Cosby said, Donald Trump said, or whoever. Because they ain't speaking to me. They're speaking to whoever they see, because life is all about perspective anyways. They speaking to whoever they see. Bill Cosby, when he said pull up your pants, black males, pull up your pants, he's speaking to whoever is within his own perspective of what he sees. And yet many sensitive individuals on their end, they will take it and just be sensitive to that. Oh, he's speaking to me. My thing is, he didn't say your name, did he? See what I'm going? So that don't make sense. That has to be called out and recognized as when you live and be strong, as in, well, who, what? Roseanne Barr, whatever, the TV show and all that. She might have said whatever she said about the racist, whatever. She might not like black people, and yet I choose not to care. What even that when she said, well, black, she didn't say this. I didn't see her say it, but I'm just saying, using an example. If she was to say, well, all black people are monkeys or something like that, she didn't say that. I'm just saying an example. But if she was to say that, my thing on my end is, well, who cares? She ain't talking about me. She don't even know my name. She don't know nothing. She don't know my address. She don't know my account or nothing. She don't know nothing. Roseanne Barr being a racist as it's stated that she is, right? That woman don't even know the color shoes I wear. So what do I care? I don't. I just don't. I say stuff to people that come to me directly. As in, I take and consume that in and go off as I choose and feel. But people that ain't never met me, Bill Cosby, this type of video could even be seen by Bill Cosby, and he might in fact get mad and go off and say something to try to hurt my feelings that may or may not hurt my feelings if he aimed it towards me. Bill Cosby himself, and seeing a video like this, and yet at least that sort of thing will be direct at me, directly aimed at me from the man himself, looking at me from his own perspective, and him saying it, saying Aviva Films, well, I hate you because of this or that, right? And not him just saying, well, I don't like how black people wear their pants sagging down. He's speaking to a whole, and yet I'm an individual. I don't go with even that, the flow of that, the whole aspect. Yes, I'm there, but I still stand as my own individual person. So I'm guessing he's speaking about everybody else. So we're on Discovery. Yes, the Discovery, yes, we are. Logo stands right up above, as in it fits. There's no shadows in that. When doves cry and all that other stuff, right? So Lieutenant Joe Kenda, every episode ever unlocked. Watch now. What is airing right now, live now, is See No Evil. They got the shows, got the crime feed, got the schedule, got the sign in, newsletter and all that. I still have yet to click that to continue watching. I got it started while I was on here doing a preview, and yet I never completed it. Recommended for you? Yes. Homicide Hunter, Lieutenant Joe Kenda. There's in fact descriptions with each one of these videos. Fatal Vows. Evil Lives Here. Look at Paula right there. Paula is kicking back with the blazer on. Oh, you can't even see her. Pamela Smart. That's why I always skip her, because when I go to roll over Pamela, as she's sitting there, when I roll over on her, you can't even, because everything is blocking it. That's why I always skip her. Deadly Women, American Monster, Red Rum, Blood Relatives, Perfect Murder. Unlocked episodes. We got The Last Defense, Homicide Hunter, Lieutenant Joe Kenda, The Devil Speaks, Pamela Smart, An American, yes, Murder Mystery. Sugartown is on here. Someone You Thought You Knew. Deadline Crime with Tamron Hall. On last night, the shows that were on, yes, last night, you can in fact, when you sign in, you're going to have to sign in through your provider. Once you click this, that's what it's going to ask, request from you. There's description for that. Evil Lives Here, The Last Defense, The Killer Close. Those are all in fact locked. Quite a few of them. ID Go Original Series. See the swamp below, as in the shark. That in fact stands and represents discovery as well. I don't know those. It's almost like peeking in, like I'm literally sitting within the four walls of a fish tank or a shark tank. That in fact represents discovery as well. The shark move, I'm saying, if you didn't know. Crime feed news. When you click on this is in fact going to take you on the outside to the crime feed. That is why that's there. All this all goes together. It connects the dots with that. You don't have that on the outside when crime right here is right here. Investigation discovery. You want all that together. Red crimes, hidden murders. You can in fact download that. It's a free app for that. Interesting where TV is going, where you in fact had to sit and watch what you didn't want to see and flick all through the channels, and yet now you got the option where with technology to go ahead and just download the app and just sit and watch whatever you want to whenever you choose to. Even at work, people sit back, yes, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they be at work watching TV. That's off the hook, ain't it? You be thinking way back in the day, your school childhood days, you be wishing, well, I wish that was available back then. Funny how time flies and how things change. Join the newsletter. You would click your email, click that, type in the email like the way that I just did, and yet you don't want to clear it out, but that's how you do that sort of thing, right? So I think that's all to be stated for now. Her face of all faces is off the hook. She's reckless too. Why is she crying? Who wants to know? That's how it happens. To commit a crime in that way is to, yeah. Schedule preview, 3 p.m. today. Married with Secrets. Yes. Fear the Ether Man. So that's all. It's a preview for you. Check out that and go. That's not an app, no, but that's just, yeah. That's not persuasion. No, it's not. That's saying check it out. Make the move on that. So I'm gone for now. I'll be back and I'll holla.